in my situation, I meet a variety of women, which you spoke about when you come into, and I'm being honest, when you come into this experience, it's for the variety. And I've almost rationalized this in my head right now, that maybe a monogamous relationship or a marriage is one person forever is an unreasonable expectation, simply because every day I turn around, I see another beautiful woman, and I see another beautiful woman, and I feel like, wow, I literally feel something sometimes. And so I'll stop and just say, excuse me, you are gorgeous. And I don't mean anything, but I just want to leave. But I'm impressed by that. And again, that's what I want to feel here. So I don't notice it as much there. So because I'm putting my attention to other places, like out of habit in the past relationships, I mean, I haven't been, I guess, faithful, simply because I rationalized in my head, well, hey, I'm supposed to explore, and this is what I'm doing. And so now I don't think it's a good thing, because I feel like it's unfair to her if I continue this way, and I want to commit, be completely here, but then I feel like I'm limiting myself if I do that. If I stay, and there's so many other things to explore, or people to explore, why would I stay and just be happy forever? I'm supposed to stay forever for 50, 60 more years, I guess, and not explore the rest of this? I'm not sure if that was a question. Like, I'm not sure if I can be happy here and stay here forever, I can do that. But then I feel like now, if I decide to stay here and do that, I miss out on all this wonderful other things to explore.
Well, you're expressing the sentiment of approximately 50% of your population. Or more. Well, let's sort this out. First of all, it's important to acknowledge that there's not a giant right and wrong in the sky, and that the rules that have been written about that have been interpreted through man, are always interpreted through the lens of what is seen to be most beneficial to the one who is interpreting it. And so there really is not a right or wrong about whether you are monogamous or whether you have multiple relationships. There just isn't. And you are right about the variety, because the variety stimulates your awareness of what you want, and through all of it you expand and become more. But we want to say that it is possible to, because you said, as you began here today, something really significant. You said, I want to love this person. And while it sounded like what you were saying is, I want to love this person, I want to be able to omit all of the others and just give my undivided attention to this one person, and I want this one person to satisfy me, I want to just love this one person. Did you notice how we took it to mean what it really means, which is, I want to be in a continual state of love? In other words, the object of attention to which you flow your love is much more irrelevant than anyone understands. And this speaks to what we've been talking about, the backwardness of all relationships, but especially these love relationships. Because what most people are saying is, I want to feel this love, and you need to be everything that I need you to be so that I can feel it. And no singular person has the capacity to be all of that for any other person. So then we say to you, you're wanting to take the responsibility for that alignment. It's not an object of attention that aligns you that you want alignment. And when you show yourself that you can find that alignment, then everything in your experience is going to take on a different level of necessity. Now, we're not trying to talk you out of exploring all of the variety and enjoying it. That's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is to help you to realize that what you're reaching for, this deep level of alignment, is possible, and that when you find it, then often these relationships that you enter into, these monogamous relationships, can be so rich and delicious because you're standing in one place with one person, so to speak, while the two of you are evolving together. So there's never ending of the exploration, so it doesn't get boring. In other words, you keep discovering more depth and breadth in the relationship that you have, which isn't possible in the relationships as you're moving from place to place. You already said it doesn't last very long because it's not based upon what's coming from the inside. It's me trying to affect the inside from the outside. So now, relative to the subject of what's right for any individual in terms of having one partner or many. As we said, there's not a giant right or wrong in the sky about it, but here's what goes wrong. So most men are really seeking freedom. And we're teaching you that the freedom that you're seeking is the freedom from the bondage of resistance that is always self-imposed. But most men are looking for freedom. Most women are looking for security. Security that they'll only find when they come into alignment with who they are, but they're looking for it through a partner. So she's looking for more security, which makes him feel less free. He's looking for more freedom, which makes her feel less secure. And so that's the basis of most contention in most relationships. So let's say that you meet someone and you've already decided that you really like exploration on all subjects. You don't want to spend all your time with one person in regard to anything, and you've shown yourself that you can be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you're experiencing a lot of variety on a lot of fronts, and you're really happy. And you're offering a vibration about that is purely that vibration. It's who you are, it's what you want, and it's what you offer vibrationally. Well, if it's what you offer vibrationally, the law of attraction is going to reach out there and find you someone who resonates with that perfectly. And if you decide that you want a long-term relationship, it's a long-term relationship with someone who agrees with you on this subject of variety. So there's no contention, there's no feeling less than who you are. It takes a really tuned in, tapped in, turned on person to be able to be in a relationship with somebody else. In other words, that kind of relationship that you're looking for would require two people who are not looking to each other for their reassurances, who have found their reassurances through alignment with Source, and then what you're doing in terms of your physical behavior and activity is irrelevant. Are you hearing that? It's the more you're depending upon the other person to be what you need them to be so that you can feel better, that is at the basis of trying to control the behavior of others. In other words, there's nothing in all of the world more uncomfortable than to try to control the behavior of someone who intends something differently than what you want them to intend. So let's go back to this. So if you're a person who has decided that you want variety and you are true to that intention, not feeling guilty about it, not worrying about it, not feeling that you're doing something wrong, but really in vibrational alignment with it, the universe will bring you a partner who feels the same way, and you will live happily ever after together. But let's say that that's what you want, but it's not what you think. You want it, but you worry about it. And you want it, but you've had so many relationships with other people who didn't want you to have it. And so you want it, but you want it, but you want it, but you want it, but you want it, but. So you're going to attract to yourself someone who is a vibrational match to the very thing that you worry about. And then you're going to have that sort of strain or struggle going on within you. Let's say it's two people who have decided that they are happier in a committed relationship. Let's say that they are aware of the pitfalls in a lot of sexual exploration. You've had enough variety that you're pretty much clear about what you want. You're no longer looking for other people to fulfill you. You've found a way to find alignment with who you really are. And so you are really in alignment with the idea of having an experience with someone that is richer and deeper. It's what you want. And you're not feeling like you're missing out. You're not feeling that you're losing out because you have brought yourself into alignment with that idea so that you're offering that pure intention. Well, then the law of attraction in the universe will deliver to you someone who feels just like that, you see. No right or wrong in it. You really do want the universe to match you up with people who are in alignment with your intentions. And what goes wrong in this relationship thing is that you've never really allowed yourself to think and believe and be the way you think you want to be. You've got mixed energy all over the place about that subject, you see.
And the way to bring that together is pretty much through meditation, quiet the mind, and allow.
Or every time it comes up, come into alignment. In other words, every time you see a beautiful woman and you think, "Oh, I would like to taste a little bit of that," and then you feel the guilt wash over you. You feel the negativity of it, and you've gone right to the specifics. Oh yeah, people die over this. People get shotguns over this. People get divorced over this. In other words, all the specifics begin to loom in. You go more general. You say, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We aren't assigned a specific partner in anything. The more we interact with others, the more broad and wonderful our experience is. And as you bring yourself into that better feeling general place again and again and again, so that your vibration is clear and your vibration is pure. You see, the thing that you're grappling with here, you can hardly believe that you're visiting with source energy, and that source energy is not only agreeing but encouraging you to do something that the majority of the population has been telling you for a very long time is a wrong thing. But the majority of the population has been believing that their happiness is dependent upon your behavior in a lot of different ways that have bound you. We want you to give up your need to please others relative to all things, because you will never have the happiness that you told us you want, the alignment and the love that you told us that you want, as long as you're resenting others holding you in behavioral patterns that are not true to your desire. That's huge. That's huge, you see. So the audience is all sitting here. Most of them are completely traumatized because they have resigned themselves to living within relationships in order to please another. But we're not kidding you. You're never going to be happy in a relationship that you feel binds you, you say. And you are the only one who can unleash the binding, because it's not about your behavior, and it's not about how many women you sleep with. It's not about any of that. It's about what you do with your mind that allows the fullness of who you are to be present. And it'll surprise you how when you come into complete alignment with who you are, how much less interaction you need with all those other people that you were looking for that support to begin with. In other words, when you tune in to who you are and you really allow source to flow through you, you're happy in a monogamous relationship, you're happy in any relationship setting that you establish. Did we get there for you?
Yeah. I think I got it. I'm gonna have to listen to this a few times over and over.
We were visiting with someone a few years ago who had come to the decision that he was no longer happy with his current mate, and said in rather clear terms that he was ready to move on and wanted to know what we thought about it. And we said, of course you can move on, and of course there are a lot of wonderful things for you to explore. But since we're aware of everyone that exists in the environment and aware of what's in your vortex, we said to this person, if you move out of this relationship looking for the things you want, you're less likely to find all of the things that life has shown you that you want in any one place more than this place. In other words, what we were saying, while you're dissatisfied, when you move over there, you'll be dissatisfied because these things will be missing. And when you move over there, you'll be dissatisfied because these things are missing. And when you move over there, you'll be dissatisfied because these things are missing. And there are a lot of beautiful faces around that are missing so many of the other wonderful things that are really important to you, like really caring about the physical well-being of your daughter. In other words, your relationship is so much richer than you have yet allowed yourself to discover it, because you haven't been looking at it from the eyes of source, which is what you said you wanted. So we really would like the first question that is so big to be resolved within you before you even move to the second one. Because once that first question is resolved and you're in alignment with who you are, we think the second question will look entirely different to you.
Right. That makes sense. So what I gather right now is pretty much I can move and go into a different situation, but if I'm looking for that one particular person to hold everything to keep me in line, I'll never find it,
because that one particular person is you and the relationship with your inner being.
A bit. Thank you.